issue is for us to really focus on industrializing our country. But I can tell you for nothing, there's no any uh, foreigner that will come and industrialize our own country. Other nations were not industrialized by other nationalities. So we have to work and make sure we sort out our own issue. And if we, Nigerians, were not investing in our own country, how can we convince anybody to come to our country and invest? So the issue is that we need to come out and invest. And I can tell you, go and see any Indian, right from Mukesh Ambani down, including this gentleman here. They don't wear anything but Indian. I'm telling you. Yes. Anything they will not. They will not wear anything but Indian. Because if they don't patronize, then there will not be job growth. And we need to be very careful, because maybe luckily for us, a lot of people don't have a real data. Data of Nigeria, you have 8.7 million new babies every year. So how do you provide jobs? Because, you know, if you remember when, okay, maybe I don't know your age, but when we were kids, we were not even buying Japanese toys. Yes, until they started improving a lot, blah, blah, blah. Now they became even premium. Then we left them and now went to the Chinese. You look at companies like Kia. Kia is almost bigger than BMW. So if you don't patronize your own, how? And that is why really we must thank His Excellency, Mr. President, by doing this Nigeria First. It's not a joke. The Nigeria First, I think the National Assembly should even pass a law and protect. You look at it before, the biggest union is not all this Nupeng and Co. No, it was textiles. That is why Adams Oshomole became very powerful. They are all over, the entire over Accra, everywhere. But most of those warehouses now, they've been turned into churches and into just buying, packing of goods. No, it's true. That's one. So going back to your first question, which is, okay, fine, do we intend to go into retail? No, we don't want to go into retail. Because if we had wanted to go into retail, you know, it was during when we were building this refinery that they sold Mobile, they sold the current Adobe, which was, you know, AP. Okay? They sold 3. I can't remember the last one. Also, Oando. Would have bought them now. The 3 of them did not cost 500 million. Would have bought them. Our SPM alone here is cost us 900 million, 980 million. So we would have bought them as part of strategy. You know, it's like you now, you say, okay, no, I'm going to buy a car, but you are just struggling for the car, but then you don't have the wheels. So obviously, you know, it should have been mandatory on us to have created those wheels so that the vehicle will move. If we knew this was what was going to happen, then maybe we would have done it the other way. But we didn't want to be called monopoly. That's why we left that side. Say, no, let's just restrict ourselves to production. They will become our customers and we'll have a very nice party together. But, you know, so if they are looking for a nice, this is fine. But if they are looking for a fight, you know, I don't know whether you've watched a lot of my interviews. I said that I have been fighting all my life. There's no business that I did that I do not fight. So this one is not a surprise. The still you are talking about, yes, we will definitely, we'll look at the opportunities of doing that. And Dankule, you know, I mean, he was right. There is no nation that you can build without a steel industry. And honestly, between us here, Ajakuta will not work. Okay? We can keep deceiving ourselves. We can keep being passionate about this. It's not possible. It's like you now, if you remember, those vehicles we used to produce from Volkswagen, Igala. If you bring Igala now, will you now compare it to the current Kia? No. Yes, things have changed. In fact, I was waiting for my driver. We didn't see him. in Italy on Tuesday, and my assistant called an Uber. So, we just got into the Uber, me and him, trying to go to this gas tech. So I was just telling, no, we were going to a restaurant. So I said, so the guy was nice to us, gave us, mint or chewing gum if we want to, I said, no, thank you. And so he just started, so I said, this vehicle is nice. What is it? He said, no, it's Tesla electric. I said, oh, that's good. So he said, about electricity is very expensive here. I said, okay, so what does it cost? He said, about 20 euros to fully charge. But then, okay, then how many kilometers do you run? He said 500. So you can see that 20 euros for 500 kilometers. So things have changed. And all of us will have to keep changing, because if not, you will become a keg. Yes, you have to change. So now when you carry something like, Aja Kukuta, you say, no, it's like you now going to the graveyard to try and bring a dead person that you want to really make that, or you go to hospital, somebody who is on his dying bed, you say that, no, he must come and run 100 meters. Yes. So it's totally impossible. And we are dreamers, and what I keep saying, I love Nigerians, because it is only a Nigerian who will actually rush to the airport without having a confirmed booking. And he will make the most noise. So he say, yes, he's sitting. Yes, he will be shouting, he sits. So that is how we are naturally. But really, come to think of it, we should be very careful, not only in Nigeria, in the entire African continent. Because people are importing poverty into our nations and exporting our jobs out. And we have the most, growing population in the world, the continent. So, yes, the biggest challenge for us now is how do we create jobs? And that's why I keep saying that it's good. Let us even keep, educating our people. When we do that, if we have full educated people, we have to have some smart people. I can tell you today, when we use this, when we built this refinery, the Nigerian engineers that we hired, in fact, it's better you even hear from him. Did they perform as good or better than the Indians? Eddie?
In fact, they have performed so well that Qatar came and poached those new engineers whom are taken and trained as expatriates to Qatar.
The expatriates now in Qatar, 18 of them. 18 of them. So, like right now, if we are building this new fertilizer we are going to build, majority of the engineers will actually be Nigerians. What is just paining us is that after training 67,000 people plus Nigerians, nobody is doing any other bigger project that they can now go and get a work. They can get some jobs. So this is what you're supposed to do once there is a growth in the nation. But right now, we all have to be very careful, because there are more. What I keep saying, there are more people who have more liquid cash than me, for example, in Nigeria. Maybe one or two or three, without mentioning names. But then now, when they see us going through this wahala, they run to Monaco and just stay. JJ. They don't want to go through this health. But me, I've already developed too much gray hair and I'm ready to just carry on. So, so that is the issue. So we have to be very careful, because you are scaring people who are supposed to. And as you are scaring them, then you are actually creating us to now become bigger and bigger and bigger alone. And you alone, you can't score football alone now. You need a team. So the only team is for everybody. We can't be now, we as Nigerians, we have a problem. We don't have steel, we don't have enough, power, or we don't have this. It's not done now. It's not everything that government will do. Just here now, it's supposed to be one of the big guys, either Tony, Elimolu, and that will go and say, you know what, let me go and do, let me go and do hydro of 5,000 megawatts. Or let me go and work with the government and do infrastructure. So the fault is not only government, we also are at fault. Because the government is one, we are on the other side. And you cannot clap with one hand. So we must also do our own for government to succeed. So the support of government is mandatory on us. And we don't have any issue. Just like what I said, earlier on, I said that you look at it today, we are building a brand new 6 million tons at Itori. And the 6 million tons in Itori we are building is 100% export. Itori is not for Nigeria's market. It's for, am I right? Yeah. It's for export, 100%. And when we went to China, so people will know that, no, we are continuously going to be investing in our country, nowhere else. Despite all these people, because most of them now, they are actually staying on the fence. So since they are scared of investing, once we are there, they will start shouting, monopoly, monopoly, monopoly. So how? It's a game. Monopoly, you have to stop somebody, or you go now and you have a system where you block other people. But we are not blocking anybody. There is what you call a face setter. So when we set the face, the others will see that, okay, so this is like before now. Before we used to watch all this Maradona and co playing. Our players were not up to that tour. But right now, you look at the French team, most of them are blacks. Today, when somebody like Burna Boy or WO, they go and perform, you see 85,000 people, full stadium. An American cannot gather that crowd. So there are so many possibilities of life. Once you have a life, you should not have limited ambition. And as a country, we are far away, we are far ahead of all this Singapore and co. If Singapore was no resources, they can have between pension fund and their reserves 1.something trillion, 1.3 trillion. How can we not have that? So that's why when President said that, look, he's looking at 1 trillion economy. It's possible. Today, none of you, maybe you don't know, the Indonesia, despite their corruption before, I don't know now, but there's even no country that doesn't have corruption. But despite of all this, Indonesia's economy is 1.4 times of Saudi Arabia's economy. They are 1.3 trillion economy. Saudi Arabia is 900 and something trillion. 900 and something billion. So we should actually say, no, these ones, they are there. I was telling Edwin that the Chinese, I went and I saw 7 years ago when I went to China. This time, last week when I was there, some of them have grown to the limit that I was even ashamed that, look, it seems that I'm not doing anything. Yes. There's one company, Sherry, somebody came and, with just shirt and jeans and co. He was running the company, he said, this year, the last 2024, their revenue was 60 billion. So, and I look at 60 billion and I say, so it means that even, this guy, even if I get to next year, I get to my 30 billion, he's already double. So I said, okay, so what are you going to be this year? He said about 92 billion, 2025, from 60. So it is by far much better for us, I believe, and it is a win-win situation. When somebody has something, you are not to chop that thing alone. No, it is for everybody. The way for it to be for everybody is for you to pay your taxes. And that's why I keep saying that in our own cement business, for example, today, where now government say, I don't know, we are not giving you any incentive, blah, blah. If you want, you go and build. We say, okay, we still went ahead and built. We are building, but we are doing export. We are building, we are adding local capacity. And for every 1 naira we turn around, government collects 52 kobo. Yes. From various taxes, yes. Yes. That's what we share. So government collects more money than the one that we even shareholders take as dividend. Because when we also take dividend, they will block you and give you change because they collect 10% withholding and give you balance of the 90. So it's a win-win situation. So if now the people who are calling us monopoly, let's say we did not set up the business, government wouldn't have collected these various taxes of maybe 600-700 billion from us, from various taxes. So how are we going to educate all these children? How are we going to look after their health? So we are better off as a society to encourage people. That's what I keep saying, that please, I'm begging even some of my friends that I know, even not them, even anybody, whatever that you do, when you make that money, please invest it here. Because that will strengthen the currency, that will improve the life of everybody, and it will create jobs. But if you keep taking the money to Dubai, you are doing injustice to yourself. Because eventually you too, you might not benefit from that money. Because you will die, most likely you don't want even your family to know you have that money. Because their request, even if you are a genuine person, they will increase their request. It's a human nature now.